So welcome back everybody. Y'all seem to be enjoying the pool videos based on the amount of views that we've been getting on them, so I thought I would make another one. Listen up, if you are somebody that is struggling with pool chemicals and pool maintenance and it's driving you crazy like I hear from so many people, you want to watch this episode. I kid you not when I say our pool is practically chemical free and little to no maintenance. All right, so let's dive into the main component of our pool. We've had this up for many months now. It's been triple digit temperatures for weeks, honestly. We got up to 120 on the heat index here in Florida one day. If my pool was going to have algae problems or a bloom, we would have done had it. There has been no relief in sight for the crazy temperatures that we've been going through. And as you can see behind me, the water is crystal clear and I'm having zero issues with it. So the main components of our pool to keep it nice and clear is your typical sand filter, nothing special about this at all, your typical pool pump, but what really makes this whole system work is what's called a copper ionizer right here. I have no affiliations with this company. I bought it off of Amazon. I will put a link in the description. They're not paying me. Again, they don't even know I'm making this video. So this here is called a power ionizer, and you can see the water flows into this unit. It plugs into an outlet over here, and then I've got some adjustable controls. It'll tell you the water temperature, although I found it's not accurate. It's about 4 to 5 degrees high. And then it's got a digital readout here and some buttons where you can turn up and down the copper output. Inside this tube right here, this is why it needs to be on the output side of your pump going back in, there is a copper bar inside this tube. In this cartridge, this is also replaceable because the copper will wear, and basically this unit right here causes that copper to plate out via electricity. Now this is known as a copper ionizer, but it also says in the manual it has some silver as well. And a lot of people do know that copper and silver is, well, I guess we'll just use the word toxic to bacteria and other things. Actually, toxic's not the right word to use because it's not necessarily to you and I. It's a safe way to treat things. You'll even see cloths and clothing with silver or copper in them because they're antibacterial, antimicrobial. So what this device does right here is it treats your water as it flows through it and eventually plates out copper in the pool that, well, attacks the bacteria and other things in there, the algae and all, and kills it off. Then ultimately it's up to your filter or your cleaning equipment to remove those particles just like with any other pool. So essentially we're treating our pool with the copper here instead of all those crazy chemicals that you're constantly having to deal with. Now here's the beautiful thing about this. I can't even tell you the last time I've run a test strip in my pool. I brought some out today to prove to you that there's no chemicals, no chlorine, nothing in the pool. I do run a chlorine float around in my pool, although I often let it run out. I don't even keep tablets in it. I opened it up yesterday, completely empty, have no idea how long it's been without tablets. I think I do that just to make myself feel a little better, but I have never ever once even registered chlorine residual in this pool on test strips back whenever I used to check it. So I'm virtually chemical free. I think I can remove the float completely and I'm good to go. So after months and months of running this through probably one of the hottest summers on record, it seems like, no algae blooms, no nothing. When we first filled this pool up, I had a heck of an algae bloom because I was pumping straight out of groundwater and there was no treatment in here. I was green for about 3 days. Well, I was running this and I wasn't seeing good results, but then a friend of mine who has one of these and has had one for 5 years, by the way, that's the reason I bought one, said when you first initially turn your water over like that, put fresh water in, you've got to run it 24/7. Well, I let this run for about 3 days straight, didn't cut it off, didn't use my pool timer. My pool cleaned up perfectly and it's been crystal clear ever since. So back to my friend real quick. She's had hers for 5 years. She finally just replaced the cartridge. Every time we've went over to her pool, it's been crystal clear. I don't ever smell chlorine. I know she's not shocking the pool or doing nothing crazy. They have friends they've recommended these to that's had excellent results. So it made me a believer. It sounds like a gimmick. I don't know how you can have 16,000 gallons of water that doesn't need to be treated with chemicals in this Florida sun and heat, but I'm telling you, after months of running this right here, the pool's crystal clear. So I've got my little robot running around out there, but look down into this. I mean, are you seeing algae? You see straight to the bottom? You seeing any issues? Not at all. Let's go ahead and dunk a couple test strips in. I haven't done that in weeks, and I will prove to you that, well, there's no chlorine, no nothing in this pool. All right, so let's do a test strip right here, and we're gonna do this real time so you can see that I'm not pulling any stunts here, no magic, no nothing. Pull out a fresh test strip here. I'm gonna prove to y'all that there is no chlorine or nothing showing up in this pool. Dunk this strip, All right, and we're gonna have to wait about 15 seconds, I believe is what this one calls for right here. So let's just keep waiting. So the two that we're most concerned with is free chlorine right here and total chlorine. So that's the two chlorines this one reads. Oh, there's bromine too, so you can see I didn't put that in there. Some people run bromine, some people do chlorine. We'll show them all here in just a second. So let's give this a few more seconds. All right. Still waiting. Okay, we've definitely been 15 seconds. So here we go, y'all. Free chlorine right here. Certainly hope the camera is focused. Look, we're white, white is 0. Bromine, we're white, white is 0. Total chlorine, 0. Right there you can see is a slightly off-white or yellow. Well, look, 0. There is no chlorine, no coloration, no bromine, absolutely nothing, no chemicals in these pools. Now you're going to notice my pH and I think alkalinity might be a little elevated. And alkalinity looks okay, but pH is elevated, and that's due to the fact that, well, the water that we run here, groundwater, and I run a fountain constantly, which will raise some of that. They also make test strips to test your copper because, again, this unit is adjustable on how much copper output it has. You do occasionally want to check that. If you get too much copper in there, turn your unit down. There's no point in wearing out your cartridge and that copper module in there prematurely. Plus, you need a certain amount of copper in here because that's what's treating your pool. But to be perfectly honest with you, I haven't tested for copper in probably 5 or 6 weeks. The pool's just been clear, and I've been leaving this on around a medium setting. Now, I don't pay attention to anything else, and that's going to shock some of y'all because you're stuck in this chemical mentality. I'm not worried about my hardness. I'm not worried about pH. My pH is actually going to be elevated a little because I'm using a fountain which aerates the water. But I don't care. The pool's nice and clean and I'm safe. No ear infections, no problems, no algae blooms. I could care less. I literally don't do any test strips. I don't do any chemicals. I can't explain to y'all on how easy this is. So for 200 something bucks, initially set your pool up, start reading some copper, make your adjustments, and then I haven't touched it since. I don't do anything with this system other than backwash my filter every so often. And I don't know, and in a couple of years, I've already bought a spare cartridge for this, which was $99 if I remember correctly. I'll just swap out my copper module and let this thing keep working. So take it for what it's worth, but I'm telling you, I hear so many people fight and struggle with chemicals on a pool. That's one of their biggest gripes. A lot of people just get sick and tired of fighting with it. I do not want to be out here in a pool swimming around in all those crazy chemicals that you're putting in yours. And again, I'm not worried about the pH and the alkalinity and everything else because I got my copper doing my treatment. And you know what you got to put in your pool to control all those others? Well, sulfuric acids and all kinds of other junk. Why do I want to keep dumping acids and chlorines and all this junk in my pool and put my body in there? That doesn't sound healthy to me at all. All right, I'll put some Amazon links where I bought my stuff down in the description if you want to check that out. Let's move on to the maintenance side of things as far as actual cleaning goes. Very simplistic, y'all. I might come out here 3 times a week with the pool skimmer, grab a few bugs. As long as you keep your water level right, well, the skimmer takes care of the majority of it. And here's a awesome side effect of running one of these fountains right here. I just did a video on this to cool our pool off. This $30 fountain really does cool the pool off. Because it's hitting out in the middle of the pool and pushing water to the other side, I've noticed on these above ground pools, when you circulate water around the outside edge, bugs tend to congregate in the middle. Well, because this fan's hitting in the middle, pushing it back to the outside edge, they always wind up in the skimmer. I do very, very little bug cleanup with this right here. I could, again, maybe 3 days a week. Now, the beautiful thing is I'm not surrounded by trees and leaves and all. That's going to completely determine what type of cleaning that you have to do. I didn't buy a pool to constantly clean and have to worry with. So if you can see on the other side of the pool over there, see this cord going across? Here comes my robotic pool cleaner. And I have went through quite a few of these and found one that seems to be doing an excellent job. This, my friends, is worth heavily investing in. They are expensive because I have not come out here in 3 months and used a pool vacuum hose, a brush, nothing. This thing right here takes care of everything for me. Now, occasionally, I don't know if you can see down behind the ladder, there's a little bit of dirt buildup right there and some sawdust from, well, where I'm working on the deck over here, and that floats over into the pool. I need to either remove the ladder or I'll just get in there and hand clean those few little spots that this misses. And occasionally it'll miss some spots around the very edge, but the majority of your junk lines up in the middle of these round pools because the water's constantly circulating. This keeps my pool, I mean, look, crystal clear. And I might run that maybe 3 times a week. All right, so let me pull my robot out right here and show you what I bought and tell you about my experience here, because this is my 3rd robotic pool cleaner. And I'll go ahead and say, as is the truth with most things in life, you get what you pay for. So I started out with those cordless, like $200 robotic cleaners that you see all over Amazon, and I got what I paid for. I ordered 2 of them from 2 different manufacturers. They did not have much suction, they did not clean well, and they both wound up giving me issues within the first few days of owning them, saying that they were completely empty, locking up in the middle of the pool, no battery even though they were fully charged, just all kinds of weird things. Luckily, Amazon's amazing return policy allowed me to send the defective units back, and I coughed up the money for a big dolphin cleaner. So the beautiful thing about the dolphin cleaner right here, it dumps water quickly. The other 2 that I had would literally take about 3 minutes to dump the water out, and they're extremely heavy when they're full of water. So this here is my Dolphin Escape. This is actually their premium model made just for above ground pools. It will go halfway up the walls, sometimes come up to the water line, but this one's really meant for flat bottom pools. It's got this big fast moving scrub brush on the front, and it runs over everything with these tracks right here. The other pool cleaners I had with wheels, I found, well, they would constantly hang up because the wheels didn't even turn, and that's because the wheels weren't driven. Literally, there was a jet of water that would push those around, and they just did a horrible job. This model also maps out your pool. Now, it does not save the map, but it gets in there every time, and you'll notice it does wheelies. I think I have some footage of this, where it'll kick up and it'll turn itself, and it tries to go from all different angles in the pool. It's really cool. Cleanup is really easy, and it has a huge basket in it, something the other models didn't have either. Pop the top. Here is the filter basket. This is the medium mesh. You can see it's full of the sawdust and everything else where I've been working. It's also got hair and some leaves in there. You can also order a fine filter basket too if you really want to go after algae, for example. If you take a look down in there, you can see some leaves, mainly all the sawdust from where I've been working, and cleanup is a breeze with this model. All you do is pop this latch on the bottom, it drops open. If it was full of a bunch of pine needles or leaves, those would drop right out. Then you just simply rinse from the outside to the inside. So another really cool tool that I have is this little Intex pool cleaner. It's not strong. It's got a little filter that fills up quickly. So whenever I jump in the pool every now and then, there's a little bit of dirt and stuff behind the ladder like you just seen. Well, this is just a shop vac for the pool. It comes with a pole, or it can go on your standard pool cleaner pole, or you can just run it by hand like this. You flip it on, I can go around the pool and just dust bust up, so to speak, a few little spots in there, and I've got a perfectly clean pool. Actually, I haven't used this in weeks. That one robotic cleaner right there has kept my pool almost spotless, other than the occasional spot around the edge. And the big basket and all that has, it'll pick up leaves and other stuff. We do get them blown in whenever we get afternoon storms from our oak tree and a few other things, and it's had no problem picking up any size leaf or pine straw that's made it out there in that pool. I'm telling y'all, I did not want to get a pool for years because I've heard the horror stories. Everybody talking about you're out there spending an hour every day. You can never get the chemicals right. They're always turning green. You always got to clean them, yada, yada, yada. Well, I believe that is true if you're trying to constantly do maintenance with chemicals. This thing right here has made owning a pool an absolute breeze. All I honestly do is come out here 3 times a week, dump my robot in, and then I just swim in the pool. All right, again, if you're curious about this robot, I highly suggest it. Yes, it's a big expense up front, but you no longer have to come out here with the hose and the brush and none of that mess. It just does the work for you. It's so much better than the cheaper models I've owned in the past. And if you're curious about turning your pool chemical free, Man, you've got to do this. You've got to do this right here. I couldn't imagine coming out here constantly test stripping and having to dump chemicals once or twice a week in my pool. It would drive me mad. Plus, again, who wants to swim in all those chemicals? That is not healthy. I don't want that junk in my life. If y'all want to see any more pool videos or reviews on robotic cleaners and things like that, let me know. I have companies that reach out to me all the time, and thus far I've turned every one of them down. But if y'all keep showing interest in this and want me to start looking into things for you, making videos on it, if the interest is there, I'll absolutely do it. If you own one of these or if you get one, please reach out to me and let me know your experience. And I'm gonna go ahead and forewarn you, all I have seen people run these on is above ground pools. I can't foresee why it would make any difference on an in-ground pool. They actually have less water typically to treat than these gigantic above ground pools right here. So it should work on absolutely anything. But if you try one, I'd love to hear your results. Don't forget, the first few days, run this joker around the clock, get you some copper test strips. Once you start reading your proper copper residual, well, then you can dial the unit back to what you want, put your regular pool timer on, and just let it run like normal. Right now, because we're having 100-degree days, I'm running my pool pump and this unit around 8 to 9 hours a day. All right, that's enough yakking right there. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Get yourself a chemical-free pool and just get back to swimming and quit working. You're gonna love it, trust me. Catch you on the next video.